warm welcome to you, to anyone. To someone who may feel like they are nobody, we're especially speaking this morning. Because that's the theme for our month, No Nobodies. And we're picking characters from the Bible account, which we may not have heard of or a little bit obscure. And today we've chosen the high priest, Jehoiada. Now, Jehoiada was around when Athaliah was trying to destroy the royal dynasty, one by one, assassinating them. There was one boy left, and his name was Joash. So for 6 years and more, the high priest hid young Prince Joash in the temple precincts, away from all prying eyes. Then came the 7th year, the denouement, the opening up, and here he presented Joash. What happened next? Well, perhaps we can listen in. We have the recording from the New King James Version, a dramatic reading, just for a minute or two.
Then he set all the people, every man with his weapon in his hand, from the right side of the temple to the left side of the temple, along by the altar and by the temple, all around the king. And they brought out the king's son, put the crown on him, gave him the testimony, and made him king. Then Jehoiada and his sons anointed him.
Long live the king!
Now, when Athaliah heard the noise of the people running and praising the king, she came to the people in the temple of the Lord. When she looked, there was the king standing by his pillar at the entrance, and the leaders and the trumpeters were by the king. All the people of the land were rejoicing and blowing trumpets, also the singers with musical instruments, and those who led in praise. So Athaliah tore her clothes.
Treason! Treason!
And Jehoiada the priest brought out the captains of hundreds who were set over the army.
Take her outside under guard, and slay with the sword whoever follows her.
For the priest had said,
Do not kill her in the house of the Lord.
So they seized her, and she went by way of the entrance of the horse gate into the king's house. And they killed her there. Then
So that excerpt shows Joash protected and then produced as king. What followed? Well, he took no time, did the young king, in restoring pure worship in the temple. However, sadly, Jehoiada got older. At the age of 130, he finally died. He was given the exceptional honour of being buried along with the kings. Unfortunately, his good influence died with him, for young Joash then listened to the princes of Judah and turned aside from Yahweh, even to the point of stoning Jehoiada, the high priest's son, Zechariah, who confronted the people with their sins. That's according to Matthew 23, verse 35. So, there are 2 or 3 things we can learn from this account. Firstly, if Jehoiada and his wife had not rescued this one boy, David's line to Christ, our true king, would have become extinct. So he made God's agenda his agenda, at the risk of his life. So God's people at times have to confront evil. Comparative verse, maybe Ephesians 5, verse 11. Secondly, Jehoiada gave the boy more than a crown. Did you notice in that verse, 2 Chronicles 23:11? And they brought out the king's son, put the crown on him, and gave him the testimony. So this was likely the copy of the law of Moses, which the kings thereupon wrote their own copy of it day by day. So he didn't primarily need lessons on etiquette and war strategy or economic studies. He needed to saturate himself in the Word of God, and the same is true ourselves and our young ones today too. And finally, Jehoiada became the king's role model. One godly person, like that high priest, can have a widespread influence. So our message for today is simply, your influence for Christ can have far-reaching effects on a person's life eternally. See you tomorrow. Thank you.